Hello, 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 everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to today's webinar. Hello, Kristy. Hello, Tom. How are you guys doing?
Hi, good to be here again, Matt, for our second episode. And yeah, super excited about today's show.
Absolutely. With our special guest of the hour. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm good. You flatter me. You flatter me. Good. I'm good. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, feeling good. Feeling good for today's session. Very excited for this one. So, guys, normal drill as usual. Make sure you can see us waving at you. Make sure you can hear us okay. And we'll wait a minute or so just to make sure you can come in. You've got the audio set up, things like that. Today's session is episode two. Feels like a Netflix series that we started a couple of weeks ago, but episode two into our RecOS series. So hopefully many of you on this call now were on our webinar back in, I think it was November. Um, and essentially that webinar was where we went through kind of what the RecOS was. We've introduced it and we've basically shown you how our kind of world leading products allow you to drive revenue, but also impact through the RecOS. So I don't expect you to memorize this URL at the bottom. We will put the link in the chat. If you haven't watched this webinar, half an hour, do check it out because myself and Kristy went through some quite meaningful stuff back in November, and this is a series. So we'll be doing these every month for the probably, well, how long, Kristy, for the foreseeable? Six, seven,
Oh,
8 months,
yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
if we get repeat
absolutely.
business. Um,
Definitely. Got to dig into every part of the RecOS and then we'll start again. So excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So today's session, guys, is really all about still talking about our RecOS, but a real deep dive into what HireAra is and why the capabilities are so game changing in the modern age of automation and AI and everything that a recruiter needs. Before we start, let's just do very, very quick introductions. We do have a habit of rambling on, so we'll be super, super quick. If you were on last time's webinar, nice to see you again. My name's Matt. If you weren't, welcome and nice to meet you. I lead all of our product marketing here at Access Recruitment, and yeah, very excited for today's session. I'm also joined by Kristy Gilham, who is our Vincere Product Director. Over to you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yep, Kristy, Venturi product director, but also our RecOS product director. So making sure that all of the products under our RecOS are integrated nicely, make sure we're telling the story to the market that we want to be telling. And that's what these sessions are all about. So excited to be back.
Absolutely. And then, drum roll, please. The man of the hour. Go on, Tom.
Yes.
Give us an intro.
You really do flatter me. I'm Tom. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO of HireAra. We're the latest acquisition into Access, acquired end of last year. So we're coming up to I think month 3, month 4 as part of the Access family. And yeah, great to be here and great to kind of start getting the platform as deeply integrated into the RecOS as possible.
Absolutely. Super, super exciting. So guys, we'll jump in today and we'll do a full kind of deep dive into what HireAra is. Just some flavor today of the agenda. So we'll run through a short recap of the RecOS, what it means for you guys, how it is such a game-changing, bit of capability. Then we'll run into, I'll say we, Tom, will be running in through HireAra and we'll do a live demo. And then we'll finish up with the kind of so what, super bundles, next step, how can you get your hands on the RecOS and this bit of kit essentially. Guys, any questions you've got throughout, do put them in the chat. There's a chat on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, so stick them in there. We've got a team of moderators, so any questions, please do put them in there. Apart from that, guys, should we crack on? Should we
I
get
think we
started?
should.
Cool,
Absolutely.
let's do it. Let's do it. So, just to kind of set the scene, so our vision in Access Recruitment, and I'm sure many customers on this call are aware, is we want to provide everything a modern recruiter needs to win more business, to win more candidates, to keep growing that business in a single global platform. And essentially, this is what the RecOS is. This is the recruitment operating system, and this is what we're building, and this is why we've got, people like Tom on the call today to show you how this is really coming to life. Just in terms of kind of going in a bit more detail what the RecOS is, Kristy, over to you.
Okay, so RecOS, what is it? Attract, manage, onboard, pay and bill. So if you're on our session last time, we went through what products make up our RecOS for our SaaS offering. And we've got Venturi in there, HireAra onboarded, Fast Track 360, Volcanic, Access Automate, Access Screening, and then all tied up with those flex points and surrounded by that professional services team as well. So it's not just about the products, it's also about the service that wraps around that. So if we go on to our next slide, and we'll see that we have the RecOS Here we go. Ecosystem. Okay, so we've got our CRM ATS. We covered that off. Our automation, website, which is Volcanic, pay and bill, onboarding and screening. But where does HireAra fit in this? It's under the automation as also the CRM ATS, but also the onboarding and screening. It really can fit in so many buckets in the RecOS, which is why it's so exciting to have Tom here to take us through in more detail how HireAra can transform your business. And look, this acquisition I was super excited. I got to meet Tom in person when I went to London, and it was just, yeah, look, so much energy. And yeah, I'm just so happy to have them as part of our RecOS ecosystem. So over to you, Tom. It's your show today. So how about you let everyone know what is HireAra? And we may ask a question later around the name. So
thanks for that intro, Kristy. That meeting in London before the acquisition, you were very jet lagged, so I don't know about high energy on that one. But no, it's great to be here, and I'm personally like really excited about just the scale that access gives us. That we've gone from being a really kind of rough around the edges, fast growth, kind of do things quickly, and now we're operating at the scale of access, and that's just a really exciting challenge for us. Just working out how we can bring our product and really kind of like bring it to the most agencies possible and the most recruiters around the world. So in essence, what I will do today is I have a couple of slides. I will try to not make it deaf by PowerPoint because that's always fun. And then I have an actual demo, which is the exciting bit where I kind of stick a real life candidate through, and then we'll kind of like see what happens really on the other side. So in essence, what does HireAra and what can HireAra do for your agency? It's about giving you the tools to make your candidates stand out. And by tools, I mean content. That what HireAra is a candidate content platform where we make it really, really easy to make world-class, stunning, like presentation content about your candidate, which looks consistent, it's standardized, it's on brand, and it doesn't take any of your headspace. It doesn't take any headspace away from running your business, from speaking to clients, from doing other BD, because it just works. It streamlines your process, saves you time, kind of thing. So on the screen, you can see kind of like all the different pieces of content we can create about a candidate. This isn't an exhaustive list. It's just kind of like the most common content used by our customers, kind of most basic levels, formatted CVs, spec CVs. If you're creating that content manually at the moment, we can help save a lot of time, but then it's actually going one step beyond that and then starting to create lots of really nice BD content, drafting sales sequences, mail shot campaigns, candidate one pages, filling in client cover sheets. We can all kind of help you create that content. And it's a tough market out there. One question I'm sometimes asked is, why do I need like more? Like, what does more content do for my candidate? And like, what's the value of having better content? This is kind of where I think we've often looked outside of recruitment for inspiration on why that content is really important. And there's a bunch of data on this. But one stat I really like is that people make their first impression on anything within their first 7 seconds of encountering it. So like if you think about what that means in kind of in the recruitment world, that if the first impression of your candidate is built in those first 7 seconds, there's just not enough time for someone to actually like read and digest any of the content. They're actually looking at the brand and the structure and the style of presentation, and that's kind of where branding comes in, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I think the second part of that is in that perception of quality. Are you a premium supplier? Does your like standard of presentation reflect that? Is it consistent? Are you a kind of supplier who's prioritized quality over quantity? And it's just making life easy for your client, right? Having all the information in the same place, simple to follow, just kind of like basic stuff. And then how it plays through is we actually did. We have some amazing case study of one of our clients where we A/B tested sending two CVs to all of their clients. The content, so the actual information, the candidate was exactly the same. The only thing that changed was how the candidate was presented. One was in their old way, which was quite like a kind of legacy looking document. There's nothing wrong with it per se, but it just didn't stand out. And then when they switched to sending the same candidate via HireAra, we got a 20% increase in interviews booked purely based on the actual design and the structure of that presentation. So that's kind of like the equation, which we think kind of leads up to why it's absolutely essential to just it's such low-hanging fruit to improve conversion. But
Absolutely,
That's
especially in the
that's
market
insane.
like we have right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I'm going to say
impressive stuff.
20% as well is that's not marginal gain. We talk about marginal gains a lot. That's not marginal gains. That's like a huge jump. It's incredible, really. And the fact that the content stayed exactly the same, the actual words, the presentation changed, and then you got a 20% uplift is mad.
it's 1 in 5 extra candidates that you're sending getting an
That's
interview off
right.
the back of the design, the
Yeah.
quality of that presentation. And it's easy, right? Like it's not rocket science. It's not hard. It's just low-hanging fruit. It's basically leaving revenue on the table by like not optimizing for that simple kind of like style content or presentation.
Definitely.
But it's not the platform for us. It's not just about creating content. It's then asking, so you've got this content, then what? Like, what's
And more,
next?
yeah.
What do you do with it? Yeah. So in the most basic form, top of the list, PDFs. It's how the world works, right? The people are just used to receiving candidates as a PDF CV. That's great. We can export as PDF. We also integrate deeply with Vincere, obviously. So all of our content is then synced back into Vincere, saved to the candidate's record. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like with a real example in a second. But the bit that we're really excited about is going one step further than just sending kind of offline static PDFs. It's being able to share your candidate as a landing page, as a website. And what that means is we can just give you open notification, analytics, tracking. You can use those open notifications to trigger BD calls. So if you sent a client in a spec or in a float campaign, client opens it, we'll use that as a trigger to pick up the phone and get that next step, that meeting booked in. About reducing feedback cycles. And just, we have the whole power of the internet, the quality of presentation that comes off that. And that's what we're trying to do in the platform, really open up that like kind of digital first approach to candidate submissions, which again,
Yeah.
if used correctly, then should lead to revenue back into the business.
Absolutely. Absolutely great for those floating and specking opportunities for sure.
And it's kind of like if it's 2025 now, right? Like if you're still creating content manually, it's just
Stop this madness.
it's mad.
Madness, I tell you.
Like it's just not a good use of human time to be manually formatting CVs, writing emails. Like I think often one thing that kind of maybe like a learning I've had coming into recruitment as well is that what recruiters are made like completely world class at is that interpersonal relationship,
Oh,
being on the
absolutely.
phone, the like human to human side of it. But actually writing content maybe isn't always the strongest point of some recruiters. So the power of AI means that actually you don't really need to do a lot of like manual writing anymore. And yeah, so if you're kind of doing all this manually, it's time to stop that. But for me, I didn't really like focusing on time saving because I think like when you focus only on time saving, it's almost a race to the bottom in terms of how much time you can save. Like there's only so many hours we can have back to your day. But it's actually, I think the bigger picture piece is being able to like turn your candidate into like a revenue magnet, into a brand.
Yeah, you've got to see the results. Just saving yourself time. You want to see those results from that time that is saved, which is, something you can back up with those stats that you've got there. Yeah, so
100%.
yay. I'm liking the look of this slide.
Cool.
Definitely.
And that's the end of the slides.
Did we have any questions yet, Matt? Before we jump into the demo?
Let's have a quick look. There was one I saw earlier about the website, kind of in terms of there was a few questions saying they don't really understand as such how the website works, and obviously is that secure, is it safe? Maybe if you touch upon that, maybe even now or in the demo.
Yeah. So the website's side of it, basically the website's encrypted on the URL. So each candidate gets a really long URL, and that's where the encryption happens. So you couldn't find that candidate on Google. You couldn't just kind of be searching the internet and happen to come across the candidate.
Right.
And I think the other thing is most of our customers use the websites for the anonymous profiles and specking.
Yeah,
So
like stacking out.
yeah, there's often
Yeah.
actually not personal data on those websites because it's an anonymous profile that you're using to sell the candidate, really.
Yeah, nice.
Great. All right,
Let's have a look then. Should we dive
have a
into the
look.
demo? I
Yeah.
think that's what everyone wants to see.
So what I have is Mr. Bobby Axelrod in Vincherry, where HireAra sits at the moment, but this will be becoming deeper over time and trying to move.
It will. It will. So it sits here right now, but it will have its own dedicated tab. And we'll also be building it so that if you are using HireAra, when you're doing that CV formatting, it'll sit inside there as well. So we are working on getting it embedded in a much nicer, smoother way. So
I think it's a real value out of the acquisition, right? That then because
definitely, because we can work
but you
together.
can really work together to make that product sit so seamlessly. But it's still
Definitely.
simple at the moment. It's in the integrations, one click. And then what you get is the candidate's original CV, where we've picked that up from Vincherry. And I have all this content set up in the background. So I'm showing you the typical kind of like recruiter, consultant, candidate workflow. I'm not going to go into the back end, how you set stuff up in the background. That's just a one-off job. Once it's done, you never really need to think about the content that's set up. And then I have three different templates here. I've got a spec CV, so let's start with that. I can add a job description. I can add interview transcripts, any like consultant notes, and that just gives more personalization to the AI. So if I add a job description, it's going to mean that all that like kind of spec content is then personalized and relevant to the job that you're specing to. So just trying to get away from just kind of bland generic content, make it really easy to do that. And you can see that profile's now loaded. So on the left-hand side, I get Bobby's original resume, CV. And on the right-hand side, I get this new formatted version. It's AI generated, so there's always a risk of kind of like hallucination. So what we just say is it's human in the loop, right? So we just need you to go in and proofread it and check the information. If there is anything which like hasn't been pulled across or you want to add any further information, it's really easy just to you literally click and type. There's no steps, no other clicks to it. Other than that, I set this up yesterday as Zebra recruitment brand. I think if I was going to start an agency, it may be
So
One
just got a
question.
question.
Sorry, you go. There's so many questions. You go, Kristy.
There are. I was gonna combine these two together. Someone just asking, can they customize their own templates? And if so, is there a limit to how many they can have?
You beat me to it because that was the question I was picking up.
It's a really good question. So yeah, the templates are fully customizable. If I swap into a different one, it will show you a kind of different example brand here. So there's no limit to what the brand can be. It's fully configurable.
Okay.
The number of templates just depends on the subscription size. Okay. So it kind of varies depending on the size of subscription, really.
Okay. How many templates do you find customers tend to have per account? This is not a question someone else has asked, I'm asking.
I think at the most basic form, quite often customers will have two, which is like a standard submission and then an anonymous spec submission. There's quite a lot of differences. So if I swap back to the Zebra one, you can see that where we had, if you look, say we have a sales financing equity at KPMG, what the AI has done, because it knows it's a spec template, it's automatically stripped out KPMG.
Stripped out the company. Yeah, great. So it's anonymized.
It's kind of a good example why you'd want two on there. So then you could have that automatically anonymized version and then the actual full submission if you're just sending the candidate to a job where you'd want to see that they've worked at KPMG because it's a reputable firm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, great. That's really good. I really like just how user-friendly, even just looking at this now, the way you can move sections up and down, you can edit on the fly. Like this is just so, and you're already in the CRM, you're in Vincherry, you've not got to leave the platform. It's such a user-friendly way of working, right? In theory, you're talking a couple of minutes, right? A quick sense check, a couple of minutes, job done.
Yeah, no, exactly. Super simple to use. To kind of go into a couple of other template examples, if you have any client cover sheets, this is often where customers would need and want more templates. So in this scenario, I'm over in London at the moment. If my client is TfL, I can set up their cover sheet or if this is part of any kind of like framework you're working on, you can set up the framework templates on the account. And then if it's context we can pick up from the AI or pull from Vincere, we can do the first draft of that content. Or if it's just, you need to add stuff manually that we're not going to know, visa status, and say UK national. So it's really easy then to fill in that cover sheet as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so smooth. And then, of course, this can all be shared not only on the website for the landing page when you are speccing and floating, but if you are working an active job, all of this will go through to your live list as well. So just working hand in hand there. So lovely.
Cool. So two bits more of kind of like to then just close the circle. So we've got the content on the platform. Then so it's then asking them what do we do with that? So in the most basic form, I want to create an outbound sales sequence about the candidate. In one click, I can go to the AI content page. I've got my tone of voice set up already on the platform. I have a really loud, and my brand is Zebras, right? I have a really loud brand here. So I said, hi. So the AI said, have I found the accounting wizard that you're looking for? It's quite loud, quite kind of outlandish. But then you have complete control of the tone of voice there.
Okay, so you can set that tone.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the AI didn't just drafts that sequence for you. So you've got this, so you've got the content, you've then got the sales sequence. The next step is then to create like the landing page, which then plugs into that sequence. So on the export menu, I can either save it to Vinny, which then passes all the content back into Vinny, or if I want to create the landing page, I hit landing page, and then I can give it a name. So if I'm going to spec this candidate or float this candidate to Matt, what I've then done is I've created a unique link to that candidate to Matt. So then when I then go and send Matt that candidate link, I think that actually I need to look at this link. Yes. When I then go and send Matt that link, I know that Matt's opened that link because he's got a unique link to him to the candidate. So I can then, when he opens it, I get a notification. I can use that to pick up the phone and give Matt a ring and say, hey, Matt, what did you think about that candidate? Are you interested? So
it's powerful.
Awesome.
I love that it's real time as well. It's all happening in real time, right? There's no lag like you get on an email, traditional forms of mail and PDFs. You just don't get any of that, right? You avoid that, and it's all happening real time. Time is money, right? In the recruitment market, particularly in the fast-paced temp contract, though, you got to be quick or you're gonna lose out.
So Matt, I mean, what do you think? Interested in the candidate?
You want to hire Bobby?
Yeah, I think I would hire Bobby. Do you want to roll in product marketing? I think one thing I really love about it, if you just go back into the Vincere side of things, is how easy this is. Presumably, this is a user doing this. This is a consultant, right? You don't have to get the marketing manager involved. You don't have to get ops involved.
Right. All the branding,
this is just me
everything.
as a user, right? Everything is done for me. I come in here. It takes me, as we've just seen, a minute and a half to do, and I move on to the next thing. Kristy, over the years, like how long do people spend formatting CVs and then Word? It takes a long time, right? In any system to do this.
It does.
It's not an easy job.
I've been in recruitment for far too long. And one of my roles was, sitting there formatting CVs, writing
people do this,
cover
right?
letters. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You would format the CVs. Everything had to be in the exact same format, and then everyone would have to have their cover letters prepared, anonymized to go out to the client to present. This just, oh gosh, the time. But also just the results that you're going to get from that as well. It's all going to look the same. It's going to be professional. It's not just you, it's all the consultants. If they're using that same template, you're going to have that uniformity throughout your brands, always presenting at that level that you want to be seen as in the market. So yeah.
Absolutely. Amazing. And I think the layer of different brands, the ability to have different templates, different brands just works so well with our Vincere base and customers and RecOS customers where they are operating with multiple brands and very different branding, right? So you might have a very, for Bobby, if we're sending it to, one client versus another client, it might be different colors, different, maybe it's quite short, maybe it's quite long. The ability to change that, as Tom's doing now on the fly, is pretty impressive as well. And almost don't overlook that, because that's a big part of the functionality. There we go, completely different.
Yeah. Okay. So
anything else, Tom? What other goodies have we got? Any final tricks?
I think no, that's everything really. I think from our side, I think maybe just share a bit about what we're working on then. Maybe that would be the kind of
that'd be great.
Next for HireAra. I think it's really trying to close the loop on kind of like the content piece. And so we've got the content, we create the channel for distribution. Then how do we help you get that content in front of your ICP, your leads? So it's looking at how can we kind of leverage other products in the RecOS. So for instance, how could we integrate with Elay to then automatically push this content into a marketing campaign on LinkedIn, into email sequences. So there's a lot of like just trying to kind of close the dots. So we've got content, we've got the channel for distribution, and then trying to like then start to add in the sequences. So you can use your candidate as this like real BD magnet, working kind of 24/7 with those automated sequences. So your ICPs then getting this perfect personalized content without you really having to put much effort in. And the first time you get involved is you kind of get that open notification, you use that as your trigger to pick up the phone. So a lot of my headspace now and focus for the next kind of couple of months is really making that kind of full circle integration happen and bringing together a couple of other products in the RecOS.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I think that word.
Sorry, I was going to say for Venturi customers, so just letting Venturi customers know, because I know Tom has asked me this. Yes, wildcards will be available in HireAra at some point. We are working on that as well. So
game changer. That is
just
absolute game changer.
Look out for that one. Yeah. And sorry,
one
Matt,
thing I was going to mention then, one of the no, it's absolutely fine. It's one of the most important words Tom just mentioned there, RecOS, right? You know, we're not just showing a product here and saying, hey, there's a great product, it integrates with Venturi, fantastic. As Kristy mentioned at the start of the call, when we looked at that RecOS diagram, HireAra touches screening, onboarding, CRM, manage, automation. And that's the power of the RecOS here. We're connecting everything deeply connected in the back end. As a user, looking at the screen now, you're like, oh, that looks great, really simple. There's a lot of work that goes into that, right? And the fact that we're all under one ecosystem, one engineering team, one product team, one customer services team, one professional services team, everything is just happening in unison. And that's the power of the RecOS, right? That's why we're all so excited, because unparalleled in the market. Nobody else has anything close to this. And as a modern recruiter, all you need to run your business and have fantastic tools like this that talk to the other fantastic tools is the RecOS, right? So the biggest takeaway is that's just how important the RecOS is. And it'll keep getting better and better and better, right, as we expand over the coming weeks, months, and years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super exciting.
I have a question I'm going to ask, and then I think there's one on there, Matt, that I think you might want to ask afterwards.
I wanted
to ask. So, sending the CV as links, does the email go to spam? Have you got anything that can help with that, or have you found it to be an issue?
It's a really good question. I think it's a bit of trial and error. I think if you're sending a candidate over LinkedIn, 100% do it over URL, because it looks better. The preview you get on the message just looks amazing. So I think it's an absolute no-brainer to do it on LinkedIn. I think email, it needs a bit of testing. It depends on who the client is. It depends on how aggressive some of their firewalls are. But I think often we find that clients with like the most aggressive kind of like email protection stuff, you have issues sending PDFs and documents anyway to them. So I think it's one where you just kind of have to test it. If you're sending one link as opposed to one PDF attachment, it's not going to cause issues. And I think on LinkedIn, it's a million times better than sending kind of documents over LinkedIn. So kind of that's kind of where I think we're at with that.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then the final question. So for context, guys, there's two Toms in the co-founding team of HireAra. Tom, there's a question here. Who's the best Tom? Answer this in the most PC way as you can, because Tom's probably watching the other Tom.
It's not even up for debate. It's such a no-brainer. I'll let people make up their own opinion on that one.
Love that.
All right, there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer.
There's a right answer and a wrong answer. Can the other Tom eat a whole pizza and then another one afterwards? Because Kristy's a terrible eater. Because if he could, then I'd have to see.
True, I did eat all of your leftovers that time.
You did, I know. Very impressive.
Awesome. So I guess the takeaway of this session, guys, and the so what for you guys listening, you've obviously seen the platform, you've seen what it can do. It's really how can I get my hands on it and what it means for me? And that's where our super bundles come in. So we launched these, maybe October last year, and they actually were due to expire end of the year. but customers are going crazy over them because you're getting more value in your tech stack and you're paying less for it. Like that's crazy, right? So we've extended them until the end of the quarter, so 31st of March. But essentially, what it allows you to do is invest in the RecOS, invest in the stack that you see at the start of the session, which obviously includes HireAra that we've been through today, and it allows you essentially, yeah, save big and win bigger. That's the real takeaway. So if you're interested, then we'll put a link in the chat now. Click through, no obligations, obviously, but if you do want to grow the tech you're using and save money, this is the offer of the century. I think one really important takeaway is, automation and AI has been around for a while now. It's only really the last 6, 7 months the shift change where it's not really optional anymore. As a modern
No,
recruitment
definitely not.
agency, you can't be like, oh yeah, let's try it. You kind of need to have this stuff or you're going to miss out. And Kristy, you see this time and time again,
Oh,
right, speaking to
absolutely.
customers.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to be ahead of the game, you've got to start using this technology, and it will only get better as we go on. Every week, every month, something new is coming out. We're able to do something more powerful with it. So yeah, it's a super exciting space, and yeah, the super bundle is a great way to take advantage of it.
Awesome.
Okay.
And guys, that's pretty much it. So for the next session, we are planning, as we mentioned in the session we did, episode 1 back in November, we're going to be picking a product each month or so. Next month, we're going to go through roadmap. So we've got some really, really very exciting stuff in the roadmap at the minute. Dare we say, I don't think we're really allowed to talk about it yet, but AI, guys, is going to be big and it's coming. So we're going to be running through that in the next session. We'll share the link in the next couple of weeks to the landing page. You can go ahead and register. Again, feel free to get your whole team on the sessions. We'll put them on YouTube afterwards if you can't join live. But yeah, stay tuned for that one. And then the final thing from us is thanks very much for joining, guys. Thanks for spending half an hour with us. Hopefully you found it useful. Any questions you've got, any more questions, do stick them in the chat. We'll answer them, offline after the session.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks, Tom, for being our special guest.
Thank you for joining us,
showing
for being
us an awesome platform.
Yes, our first product to come into the series. So very excited you're the first one, and look forward to diving into the rest of the products. But thank you so much for joining us today. And it was
absolutely. And
so
follow us on social. If you want to keep up with what we're up to, do follow us on YouTube and social and LinkedIn and whatnot. And yeah, see you hopefully at the next webinar. Thanks very much, guys.
Awesome.
Next one. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.